French Revolution, 14th July 1789. Glimpse of French Revolution. On the morning of 14 July 1789, the city of Paris was in state of alarm. The king had commanded troops to move into the city. Rumors spread that he would soon order the army to fire upon the citizen. Some 7,000 men and women gathered in front of the town hall and decided to form a people militia. They broke into a number of government buildings in search of arms to protect them. Political cause. In 1774, Louis XVI of the Bourbon family of king ascended the throne of France. He ruled as an absolute monarch. He had maintained a huge army and built a big extravagant court and demands the place of Versailles, which drained the wealth of France. French involvement in American Revolutionary War began in 1774 when France, a rival of British Empire, secretly shipped supplies to the continent. At cost of participation in war, France accumulated over 1 billion livres in debut. King Louis XVI spent 2 billion in the palace. In 1776, France helped 13 American colonies to gain their independence from Britain. Social cause. French society in 18th century was divided into three states: clergy, nobility, and common people. The French economy was based on revenue from land and on feudal system. The government charged huge taxes from third estate. These include a direct tax called taille. The church too exerted its shares of taxes called tithes from the peasants. Economic cost. The population of France rose from about 23 million in 1715 to 28 million in 1789. This led to rapid increase in demand for food grains. They stand for long queues for bread. This led to substantial crisis. So the price of bread, which the staple diet of majority, rose rapidly. Outbreak of the revolution. Louis XVI decided to increase the tax in order to overcome financial crisis. So he called the meeting of Estates General on 5 May 1789. The first and second estate sent 300 representatives each. There were 600 representatives from the third estate. As per the tradition, the voting had to be done on the basis of the principle, one estate, one vote. This time, the leaders of the third estate demanded that the voting should be done on the basis of the principle, one member, one vote. The king did not agree with that. Tennis court oath. The members of third estate walked out of the assembly. They assembled in an indoor tennis court on 20 June 1789. They declared themselves as the National Assembly of France. They decided to draft a new constitution which would limit the power of king. The Declaration of Human Rights and Citizen. It declared that all men are born free and equal in rights. It became the duty of government to protect the rights of citizens. It granted basic human rights such as the right to life, freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, and equality before law to all the citizens. The rule of Jabons, reign of terror. Maximilien Robespierre ruled France from 1793 to 1794, 1 year. This period is called Reign of Terror. Robespierre became a dictator. Those who opposed his policies were called the enemies of the revolution. They were arrested and punished. A device called Gatineau was used to kill them. The government fixed maximum ceiling, top limit on wages and prices. Farmers had to transport their products to the cities and sell at the price fixed by the government. All had to eat the equality bread made up of whole wheat. Churches were closed. Church buildings were converted into military barracks and government offices. Strict and cruel steps taken by Robespierre were disliked by many people. Slave trade. The slave trade began in the 17th century between Europe, Africa, and Americans. French merchants sailed from ports like Bordeaux or Nantes to the African coast where they bought slaves from the local chieftains. They were important suppliers of tobacco, sugar, coffee, and indigo. But the reluctance of Europeans to go and work there caused shortage of labor on the plantations. Role of women. Women were active participants in the French Revolution. Most of the women of the Third Estate had to work to earn their livelihood. There were as seamstresses, sold flowers and vegetables, or worked as domestic servants in the house of wealthy families. A famous women's club was the Society of Revolutionary Republican Women. Schooling was made compulsory for all girls. The French women were finally granted voting rights in 1946. Rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. After the French Revolution, France became a republic. The Jacobins introduced some radical reforms, but they, under Robespierre, followed the policies so relentlessly that he himself was guillotined in July 1794. The fall of Robespierre's government allowed the wealthier middle class to seize power. Two legislative councils were elected, who then appointed a directory, an executive made up of 5 members. Rule of directory. The rich middle class got power back. A new constitution which gave rights to vote only to men with property was introduced. It established 2 legislative councils. The council appointed a directory of 5 men who formed the executive. There were conflicts between directory and the council. Napoleon Bonaparte, a military officer, used of these troubled situations to capture power.